and welcome to the official YouTube channel of Cherokee County Government. I'm Erica Neldner, Communications Director for Cherokee County. Today we're here with Chief Appraiser Steve Swindell, and we're going to talk about the appeals process. Steve, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Erica. It's nice to be here.
So let's talk about this. So state law provides for an appeals option for property owners after the assessment notices are mailed out every spring. How does the appeal process begin?
Right, you receive your assessment notice in the mail. That is by law. We've got to send them the old snail mail way. And once those notices have been dated before they're sent, you have 45 days from the date of that notice to file an appeal. The overall process is pretty straightforward. We'll take an appeal written on a napkin. I mean, there's an official state form that you can use, but it's not required. You can appeal using anything, any type of written communication. It's got to be mailed and postmarked so we know when we're getting close to the deadline that it was filed timely. But once it's filed, we review it, and if there is a case made in the appeal, some things are brought to light. Say a house has got a leaky roof and we don't know it. An adjustment quite possibly can be made, and then a new notice would be sent out, and that is called a 30-day notice because you then have 30 days to continue the appeal. If we do make an adjustment at the Board of Assessors level, that's the first step. Then you would receive that updated notice with a new value on it, and then you can determine whether you want to continue the appeal. If you so choose to continue the appeal at that point, you'd send us another written letter in the mail, postmarked, so we know there again that it was filed timely. And that would automatically be forwarded to the Board of Equalization at that point. A hearing date would be scheduled. You do have the opportunity to reschedule that time if it doesn't work for you, as does the tax assessor's office. And when we get to that point, that is a non-partial jury, basically. And we're on one side of the table and the taxpayers on the other side. And with the Board of Equalization hearing the cases from both parties and making a determination of what they think the value should be. If the property owner is satisfied at that point, the appeal is considered final. If not, they still have another opportunity to carry the appeal to Superior Court and have a jury trial about the difference in value if they so choose.
So would it be safe to assume that not every situation looks the same, not every situation takes the same amount of time, so there's not really a good estimate to tell our taxpayers of how long should this take?
True. And really, as we saw in 2023, a lot of it is determined by the sheer volume of appeals. We basically received triple the volume last year. Now, we do have a backstop in the law that says that the tax assessor's office must act on an appeal within 180 days. So within 6 months, we've got to do something with it. We worked very, very hard this past year to get through that volume of appeals, but there were still some that got up against that 180-day wall. And if that's the case, then if a value has been declared by the taxpayer in their appeal, we must adopt that value as the value for the year. But if we can't find a reason to adjust the value, then the appeal would be automatically forwarded to the Board of Equalization.
And then let's talk about the Board of Equalization. What is that, and how is that board selected?
Yeah, this is confusing because there's a lot of boards and things in the code section in Georgia that make the property tax process a little more confusing. I will say at this point, though, it is the only appealable tax. But the Board of Equalization, so I serve the Board of Tax Assessors, which is a 5-member appointed board by the County Commission. And they are my boss. They appoint me as the chief appraiser, and then I hire the staff for the office. The Board of Equalization is appointed by the grand jury, and they are specifically designed, and it's very well outlined in the code section that concerns property tax for Georgia. Their duties are very well defined and how they're supposed to operate. When a taxpayer comes in, they're going to face 3 board members. and the decision has got to be a majority. So you come into the hearing, a representative of the tax assessors will be sitting there. You're given the opportunity to go first or let the tax assessors go first. We'll present our case, present comparables in the neighborhood typically, or nearby as best that we can. The taxpayer presents whatever they have, and the board makes a ruling. The board members are again appointed by the grand jury, so they cast about for members to join that board. Occasionally, you'll see advertisements run where the clerk of courts, who manages the board on behalf of the grand jury, or the grand jury itself will post advertisements where they're looking for board members. Typically, they've got to be homeowners in the county they serve. They're just citizens, just like the taxpayer, just like me. I live and work in Cherokee County too.
Once a decision is made on an appeal, what happens next?
If the taxpayer is satisfied with whatever the decision is, that's it. It ends, and then whatever that value is that they've agreed to is what will be reflected on their property tax bill.
Property tax bills, unlike assessments, are mailed each fall, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the assessments always have to come out first, and then we work through this appeals process as much as we can before tax bills come out.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you learned a little bit more about the appeals process and how to do it should you choose to go that method. Thanks for joining us today, and have a great day.